Hi, Josh. Can you tell us a little about yourself?
Sure. My name's Josh Raiffe. I'm an artist. I'm most well known for my glass handbags, but I'm so much more than that.
Yeah, I first heard about you was actually the fashion show by the fashion brand Coperni,
Mm-hmm.
and um, was that the first time you collaborate with a fashion brand?
Definitely. It was.
Can you tell us how you started the collaboration? Did they reach out to you?
It was through a mutual friend. They were models, and Coperni originally wanted a bag, one of their bags for a photo shoot. So I made a bag for them, and they loved it. They put it on the runway. They had Gigi Hadid wear it, and the internet really blew up with it. And that's really how I started.
Yeah, so before that, when did you start making, glass handbags?
I'd made a few before that, but none. That one was innovative, I think, because there was no. Typically, with a glass handbag, there's like a separate bit of glass for the
Mm,
handle, but this
yeah,
was all one piece of glass. So that was
yeah.
really the innovation there. I had made a few before that, but nothing that I was really too interested in. And then when I saw the reaction to this, and I was like, okay, that's cool, but I can do this so much better. Like this was really just me, like you know, recreating the Coperni swipe bag as best as I could, and also just trying to just like give them what they want. But I was like, well, there's like so much potential with this shape and with like the performative aspect of wearing a bag that I thought I could really just bring a lot more to the table. And it's been like a really deep well. I didn't expect it to have, you know, to do it for this long.
So, when did you first start it?
Um, March 2022.
Oh, that was the first time you made a glass, like all glass handbag.
No, I've made a few before that, but they weren't really anything I was so excited about. It's kind of just
Uh-huh.
like because like I've been blowing glass for a long time, and so you sort of make things here and there, but it wasn't anything I was too thrilled about.
Right. And what do you mean by that? What makes you like excited?
Well, when I try something new
Yeah.
that either I think it hasn't been done before or hasn't been done like this before, and the result is brings something fresh to the table, something new and interesting. That excites me.
And
Also, like, yeah,
yeah.
go on.
No, I was just wondering, like, what occurred to you to make a like all glass handbag? Who was
Um, what's that?
who was the first customer? Who was the first one who carried your glass handbag?
That's a good question. I think it was Gigi Hadid was the first person to carry
Yeah.
it. I think, yeah, which was
Oh my.
really like a rocket start. And like I mean, props to Coperni because like I don't have those connections.
Yeah, so when you saw that, like, how did you feel when you saw that?
I mean, I'm not really one to put a lot of like I don't know how to say it, but I feel like a lot of people they are awestruck by celebrities, and that's not really me. I just see them as people like you and I, and some are cool and some are not cool, but they're just people. So like it was interesting to see the reaction of the public to it,
Yeah.
but no, they're just. I mean, I don't care. If you wore it or if a celebrity wore it, it's the same to me.
And but like I meant, it was the first time your handbag was at a fashion show in Paris,
Mm-hmm.
and like, have you ever thought one day you would, made it in the fashion world?
No. But that's the other thing that's kind of funny is that like because it wasn't really my goal to be in the fashion world or like a fashion person, like these a lot of the like metrics of a successful fashion person being on the runway or like having different celebrities or like different brand deals, like they don't really excite me as much as they would other people who have been working so hard for that. Um which is I mean, I'm maybe it sounds ungrateful, but yeah, I don't care that much, honestly. I mean, they're fun. I love the fashion shows because they're really fun. I like the after parties and meeting
Yeah.
people. I'm a really social person, so I like going around and talking to people. But like the prestige of it, I could care less.
And so like you made the all glass handbag, and then
Hmm.
so each handbag like is it like a limited edition? I the first time I saw it was actually, well, I've seen like the videos from Coperni,
Hmm.
and the first time I saw it in person was Patbo. It's the
Yeah.
Brazilian fashion brand, and I was
Did you
doing
go to
outbound.
that? Did you
Yeah.
go to that the Patbo the fashion show?
No, I didn't. I wasn't aware. I wasn't invited.
Did
And
Did you go to the one? So how did you see the Patbo ones
um, so it was so they just opened a new store. Well, it was a year ago doing
in
Art Basel.
Miami?
Yes, design with.
Yeah.
That was the first time I saw your handbags in
Oh,
person.
cool.
And so yeah, how did you start with Patbo?
Oh, that's a fun. That's also through a mutual friend who introduced me to the president of Papo. They were good friends, and yeah, we met. I showed her my work. She said, "This is great. This totally fits." Um, and yeah, I think right after that, they sort of sent me images of like their next runway show, and
Hmm.
I sort of, I think I blew. I don't know, I want to say like five different designs based on like the drawings of the dresses I saw, which is fun. I love that kind of stuff. I love to have like a little assignment, as long as
Hmm.
it's open-ended, if someone tells me like, I want a 13.5-inch red bag with this shape, I'm like, that's too much constraints for me. But
Yeah.
if you show me a dress and you're like, make something inspired by this, that's more my speed. I love that. So I really like that project a lot.
And so like you are you still collaborating with any fashion brand right now?
Um,
Like where can we
yeah. What's that?
what can we where can you where can we see your brand? Like
Oh, well, different galleries and
yeah.
stuff. I think Kate Barton was the latest one. I'm
Okay.
doing a lot of work with a gallery called Basic Space right now. I was
Okay.
just with them for Design Miami,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
I
you were at
saw,
Design Miami?
yeah,
You were okay.
yeah, I know you were there too from your last episode.
Yes. And I was like, oh, maybe I've seen it. I just didn't realize it was you. Was it also like handbags?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, it's in like the close to the cafe in Design Miami, Basic Space.
Uh-huh.
There
Um,
was like I had a bunch of bags there. But
yeah.
it's hard to. I know if you just go to Miami, sometimes you don't see everything because there's so much to see.
Yeah. Sometimes you miss stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you might have missed it. Yeah.
And do you keep like making I've seen this one with the spikes, right? And
Oh, can you show me again?
here, this one, the spikes. When did you start making these ones?
Oh, the spikes. Yeah, I love the spikes. Yeah, I think okay. So that was like way back, right after the. It was actually the first one I made. So right after the Coperni fashion show,
Yeah.
March 2022, on the plane ride home,
Mm-hmm.
very inspired by that whole event, and I'm drawing out all these designs. I drew out the spike one in my notebook. I drew out the drippy one. I drew out one with wings, and I have like a few drawings in my sketchbook from like those original ones, one with like a heart in the handle. And when I first got back, the spiky one, I don't know if it is on my Instagram, but you have to scroll pretty far down. It's probably hidden somewhere. But it's
Like
like
this
a
one?
that's the first one. So as soon as I got back from
Oh,
Paris Fashion Week, that like really dark bag with the red spikes, that was the first one I made. And then I
and
yeah.
yeah. And why do you choose this color combination?
Um good question. I don't know because I love it.
I'm like, it
Like
was something for the fashion show.
no, that was just something I wanted to do. Black bag, red spikes. Yeah, I love that. I would if
So
I did it again, I would use this like a more like a Ferrari red or like your lips red,
Yeah.
like something that's more like opaque and punchy.
Uh-huh.
That red I've used there is a little orangey and a little transparent. So I would like to recreate that one. Also, the bag on that one, it's a cool color. It's like a really, really dark olive green. But if I
Yeah.
did it again, I would just go black, black.
Yeah. I had that image in my mind. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because at first glance, I thought like, it was kind of black, but then it was, oh, look closer.
yeah.
Deep olive. And what about this one? I really like this one.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that was also like very, very close after the Coperni show was I went to a museum there in Paris and I saw this painting. It was like an old Renaissance painting. Oh, I remember. It was the Martyrdom of Saint Denis. And it was an old Renaissance painting and it depicted Saint Denis. He was decapitated. He had no
Oh,
head and his
yeah.
body was picking up his severed head off the ground, and where
Uh-huh.
his head used to be were these like this glowing halo, these emanating golden rays, which I thought it was like his spirit or like his holiness that like gave him life after death. And I thought, how beautiful it would it be? Because I do believe we all have like a special quality in us that like radiates. So basically when you hold the bag, those yellow rays are like beaming from your hand, like a holy hand,
Oh, how
like a
interesting.
halo, like a Renaissance halo.
Yeah, it does reminds me some kind of like a sun ray.
Yeah.
So, and do you make these anymore? I didn't see this at so this is back in 2022, right?
Yeah, no, I haven't I made a few of those, but
And you
no,
evolve into
I move on to other designs.
yes. You evolve into this.
Yeah, that was the best
Would you
version of
say
that.
was this made after the Halo bag?
Yeah, it was. 'Cause I thought that color combo is really special to me. It's um, gold ruby on the inside and silver blue on the outside, and the combination is it's so magical. It's so ethereal. It's so hard to put your finger on it, and it changes
Mhm.
so much depending on the light. Um, and then when I carved through it, I carved through the blue into the ruby. So yeah, that one was I was definitely fueled by um, just like a thirst to prove myself, to make like the best thing possible and like not rest until I do it.
Mhm. So
Um,
I saw a video, like it was by one of the galleries that you
mhm,
collaborate with, and it showed that when sometimes when you make one of these, handbags, uh, it doesn't really go into the style you want, and or sometimes it would break,
mhm,
right? Like
mhm.
when you drill the hole or something.
Sure.
Um, so like typically how many takes does it take to make this one? Every new
Which
design,
can you
like
show me which one? Oh, that one. Hmm. Okay. It's a good question. It's a hard question to ask because sometimes I'm on a roll and I'll go like I can just first try, got it, first try, got it, and then other times I'm in a slump and it's like this whole day is just a waste of time, and that could happen like a few days in a row. Or sometimes, like that piece, for example, it's risky because there's so much carving on it. And if you slip up once, you kind of have to start again. You can't really go back. So it's like different kinds of mess ups, different frequencies, and like with different costs.
yeah, I mean, like how many takes did it for this one, the final version? How many
I
ones
think
would
I
you
might have gotten that one first try.
really?
I
Wow.
don't know. I don't remember. That was so long. That was 2 years ago when I
Yeah.
made that.
Or like so how did you make the color grade? Like how did you make the color like this?
Okay, so it's two different colors. On
Yeah.
the inside, it's gold ruby, which is just
Uh-huh.
like a pure, beautiful ruby color. And on the
Right.
outside, it's another color called silver blue, which I use all the time. And the silver blue is really special because when the light bounces off of it, it's sort of like a celadon color. But then when the light goes through it, you get like yellows and purples. So the combination of those two things, plus the fact that I carved through the blue,
Yeah.
makes it like very, very complex color.
And so how did you make the color? Can you explain to us the process of glass making?
Sure. Yeah. So, um, to layer the colors like this, you originally buy the colors from a company in Germany,
Uh-huh.
either Kugler or Reichenbach,
Right.
and they come in a variety of different forms, but I like them in rods. So they come in
Uh-huh.
like a rod about an inch thick by a foot long. You chop them up into the section, into the amount you want,
Hmm.
and then there's many different ways to apply that, like pure color. But the most common way is called an overlay, where you
Hmm.
sort of you take a cold bubble and you drop a hot blob of this color on top and you spread it
Right.
over. And then for that particular color application, I want some distance between the ruby and the silver blue so that when I grind through the silver blue, the ruby is still there. So I'll put a lot of clear in between with a process called a stuff cup. So I'll make
Okay.
a blue cup and then I'll do the ruby overlay, put clear on top of that and insert that into the blue cup. So there's like a separation between.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And is that something you figured out yourself?
No, no, that's just a common technique.
And where did you learn that? When did you start?
Well, I learned, I learned, I started blowing glass in college at Tyler School of Art,
Uh-huh.
and I had many great mentors. I have to give a huge shout out to Deborah Churesco, who I apprenticed under Deborah for like a decade. So I learned a lot from her,
Oh wow.
and yeah, Bo Hyun Yoon, I learned a lot from him. Dan Catrone, gotta give
Uh-huh.
him some credit. Yeah, lot of good teachers in my life.
And so when did you know you want to use glass as the medium?
That's a good question. Um, Because I went to school for sculpture and I only really found glass like later on in my college career. But once I started, I loved it. I was so addicted. I think the fact that it's so hard and you fail so many times in the beginning, for a lot of people that discourages people, but for another group of people it encourages them because they don't I'm a competitive person, so I don't like to fail. So
Yeah.
when I make something and it's crooked or it's ugly or it's cracked, it's like it like fuels me to keep going and get it right. So I think maybe that's why I was so drawn to it.
And so like when you first started, what did you make?
Um, when I first started, I went through a phase of I wouldn't say goblets and like fancy cups,
Uh-huh.
but like using those fancy cup techniques to make like weird offbeat sculptures.
Yeah.
But I was really into there's a particular technique called the blown foot, which is just like the bottom of a wine glass, like that kind of thin foot.
Yeah.
Like you know how a wine glass sort of sits on a little disc.
Yeah.
I love that. So I would like put so many different things on that base and use that base as a sculptural element around different
Mhm.
sculptures. So that was sort of the first thing I did. And then I also played a lot with like layering colors and grinding through colors.
And so is that how you typically start? Like when I start, if anyone
Yeah.
start taking glass making courses, what do they make?
It's not an uncommon way to start. A lot of people in the beginning have their start like being addicted to goblet making. A lot of
Yeah.
other people they do sculptural things or a lot of people focus on different color applications. So a lot of people go more experimental and they'll do like, oh, what happens if I like I don't know, throw a bunch of like rusty iron and mix it into the glass and see what happens.
Mhm.
There's a lot of different ways to do it.
And how long did it take for you to master the techniques that you needed today?
Oh, I'm still not a master of these techniques. It takes forever.
Especially like the twist, the handles. Some of them you twist them. Is that like is it something that's difficult? What are the difficult parts of making these things?
um, it's difficult when you have different managing differences in thickness are difficult.
Like this one.
Oh, that's easy. That one's easy.
Yeah.
Cause
Okay.
that
It looks difficult, like to make that kind of a twist.
it looks difficult, but you remember glass is a liquid when you're working with it. So if it looks like flowy and smushy, it looks great, and it's one of the things that I love most about it. But it's what the glass wants to do.
Uh,
It's when things are square and angular that's tough.
oh. I mean, that's the beauty of it. It's just so lyrical. And I
Yeah, that
really
was a
like
good
the
one.
color. Yeah, I really like the color as well.
Thank
Uh,
you.
yeah, and so you, when did you start? Like, so you started in 2022, and how many handbags have you made
Oof.
yourself? Do you remember?
I would say we're probably close to 500 now.
Well,
That's my best guess, but I don't really know.
yeah. I mean, like, this is like this is another one.
That's a fun one.
Is that something difficult to make? You know, like with this kind of shapes?
Oh, sure. Yeah, the pattern is difficult. That
Yeah.
little squiggly on the handle,
Uh-huh.
that's like a funny I think it's used to make ravioli. It's like a kitchen tool. It's like a three-pronged kitchen tool that sort of pinches like this,
Uh-huh.
and it makes the it makes the it makes that little shape on top. And then for the pattern on the bottom, that's Marini, which is like an old Italian technique, and I used it's like a yellow on the inside and a blue Marini on the outside.
Yeah. So how did you make the so this was that the first time? Is this the first style you came up with?
Is it the first style I came up with?
Yeah, like of this kind. I meant like this style. Is this the
Mhm.
first one you made?
Yeah, I mean most of the bags I make are one of a kind. Every once in a while I'll reproduce it. If I'm like not happy with the first version. But
Um,
yeah, like sometimes I'll have an idea and it'll take me a few tries to get it to where I want it to be. But typically everything's one of a kind.
but like the ones we at Coperni, like remember they had like they do
Yeah,
have
those were not. Yeah, that's true. That's different. Those ones that was different because the Coperni ones that was such a big like meme and the demand for those they made a really big splash. I think I made like 200. Maybe not 200. Maybe 200. I don't know. No, probably more like 100. I think I made 100 of those Coperni bags.
still it's the limited edition, right? The one that Hadid the one she showed at fashion show.
Mm-hmm.
How many you made of that?
I
It
think
was all
100. Maybe
okay.
50. 50 to 100.
Yeah, because I remember like you showed a photo. It was like yeah, you're holding them, and so why did you put those two spikes? Like it was like a two ears
Oh, the
on the
horns?
yeah the horns.
That's sort of the signature
Mhm.
design of like the collaborators.
Okay,
I really can't take credit for the horns.
okay,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's why I asked, and I thought it was something that it was a coincidence. That would be funny.
No. No,
Yeah.
no, no. That I can't take credit for the horns. No.
So they commissioned you to make something like that, like to
No, no, it was a collab, but
okay,
they didn't credit me, which is fine. I mean, I in retrospect, I should have probably fought for some credit, but at the
yeah,
time, I didn't really know what I was doing, you know? Like they paid me and I was happy with that.
uh-huh. And so how is that different? So that was the first time you collaborated with a like a big fashion brand.
Hmm.
So the second time, how is that different between Patbo and Capone?
I think the main difference was, well, back then I had no social media presence and no one really knew anything about me.
Mhm.
Um, but then I guess I learned my lesson. So when it came to Papo, I was like, let's be clear about this. It's a collab, and it's gonna be like Raiffe X Papo. And yeah, I guess I didn't really know that I had to ask for that kind of thing. You know what I mean? I have
Yeah. What kind of fashion brands you personally like or wear?
my favorite right now is Mischief. I think Mischief. I don't even know if you'd call them a fashion brand, but I
Uh-huh.
think they're what they're doing is really cool, and I would love to work with them on a project someday.
And so these like last hand, is this the direction you'll be going in the near
No,
future?
I mean not forever. I mean,
So
it might be forever, but I'll do more than this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so you're still enjoying it, right? Still enjoying
Yeah.
making. Okay.
So much. I mean, there's still so many ideas I have that I haven't done yet
Mhm.
that's why I'm gonna keep riding this train until I'm out of ideas. which I don't think. You know what's so funny about ideas is the more ideas you have and the more things you do, the more ideas you get. It's not like you do the ideas and they're depleted. It's like the more you do, the more they prop up.
Yeah, yeah. And when do you get most of your inspirations?
In the shop, I get most of my inspiration in the shop. Like when I'm working, I'm always like, oh, but what if I did this instead? You know, that kind of thing happens all the time. Although you got to be careful because I feel like it becomes like circular and not uninspired, but like um I always find it's interesting when you have someone with a totally different background stepping into a new field. For example, if you have like a chef or an astronaut or someone a scientist, someone like totally different who then learns how to blow glass or like sculpt wood, they can bring all their inspiration, their previous experience of their opinions, their knowledge into this world, and you get some really interesting stuff. So I do think it's important to not just to travel, but just to like be an interested person and to like take up hobbies and delve deep into other things.
So you made this in 2017.
Yeah. You see the connection?
Because I try to find your work like before, like on your social media before the handbag, and you have like how did your style evolve like over the years?
That's funny that you bring up that particular piece because looking at that piece and looking at my stuff now, like the style is the same. Like that
You can
could,
see some of it, yeah,
if
elements.
you just
Yeah,
put a handle on that and it's a bag.
yeah.
And it would look like just like my bags now. So yeah, style, I mean my style does evolve as I learn and get better, but I mean there's something about a person's style that I think it does evolve, but it's not I mean, for me anyway, it evolves slowly. Yeah, right. Look at that. I've
Yeah.
always loved the spikes and the drips. I mean, the drips took me a little bit to figure out, but
Mhm.
I don't know. Something about the spikes is really cool. Maybe it's like a deep-seated rage I have.
Yeah, I mean, like, so for glass, like, what would you, if you make like I was just wondering, because to make something that thin, the handbag,
hmm
how many, like, did you always started it with that kind of thickness?
I mean, the thickness varies on the handbags, even bag to bag. I try to make them lightweight so that so it doesn't hurt your arm carrying them around.
Uh-huh. But it was just like it's interesting how like you make them so thin because it's a handbag. And,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a trade-off between thickness and strength because you want it to be thin so it's lightweight, but you want it thick so it's strong. But I always sacrifice functionality for style. Like if I have a lot of different colors and patterns, it's going to be thicker because each one of those is a layer of glass, so it can be heavy if it's really heavy on the pattern. Um, and I'm not gonna like not make it because it's gonna be too heavy. You know, I'm just gonna make it. It's gonna be thick, and like that's the way it's gonna be.
and I really like this one. This one, the one you have.
Yeah, those are the originals. And that
Yeah.
was my, and honestly, that picture, that's nothing. That was my, I don't live there anymore, but that little apartment was like 200 square feet. Tiny
Uh-huh.
little Brooklyn apartment. And every single surface was covered in these Coperni bags. I had no joke, like on my, all over my kitchen, all over my living room, in my bathtub. They weren't available to the public, and I had like 100 of these bags, each of which were selling for like I think it was 2,700 they sold for originally, and I just had like 100. I had like $200,000 worth of handbags in my little 200 square foot apartment. Like in my bedroom, on my nightstand, I had like 50. Like I had like 10 of them on my nightstand. I just had no place to keep them.
And I mean, like, so this one, how did you keep them? I mean, imagine if you accidentally knocked down one of them, what would
Yeah,
happen?
I know, and it would be a domino effect. I had no place to keep them. It was nuts, and the whole world was going crazy because like Kylie Jenner was wearing it, and Doja Cat was wearing it, and everyone was like, "Where do I get them? How do I
Uh,
get one? Like, where do I find this? How do I buy one?" And I had like no social media presence. I didn't even know how to use Instagram hardly. Um, and here I am sitting with like 100 of them, like on every single surface on top of my refrigerator, like in my bathroom.
yeah, I mean, like, it must be a lot of girls how they. What about you, right? Like through the fashion show.
What's
And
that?
I mean, like, do you have a lot of fans just reaching out to you, inquiring
Yeah,
about handbags?
yeah, yeah. Not nowadays I do.
Yeah.
It's taken me, yeah. Because I mean when that happened, no one knew about me.
But Capone tagged you.
That's
Um,
true. That's
yeah,
true.
yeah. And
But even like those kind of things, it still takes a long time to build up like some sort of recognition.
right. I mean, like, when I, well, I want to look you up, like, you didn't really have like a shop function, right? You just, if I want to buy something, like buy one of these handbags, I have
Hmm.
to reach out to either the galleries or some of the fashion brands you
Oh, you can just
collaborate.
go to my website.
Okay, okay.
Hmm. Must be something wrong with my like the flow of my business if you didn't know.
No, I meant like, because there's typically there's like a shop function on your Instagram, right? You didn't set up.
Oh, all
That's
right,
what.
good business tip. I'll see if I can get on that. You're right, I should have that.
Yeah, that's why I was like, if someone tag you, they have to go to your website, which is like most people I buy from your website, but also like on Instagram, you can have the e-commerce function.
You're right. I forgot about that. You're so
Yeah.
right. I should do that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joy. I will implement that really soon.
And then I was like, oh, let me see. Like I have to look up like how much it cost. I really like the pale blue one, the OG. Um,
Hmm.
and was that your idea to use that color?
No, it was actually Versace. Um, I think it was, yeah, it was Versace dressed Doja Cat for the Grammys,
Yeah.
and I I didn't even see the color. They just told me light blue,
Yeah.
and so I was sort of looking around, and I was like, this is a good one. It's Celadon, and and I faded it from like
Yeah.
that to clear because I still wanted to be glassy on bottom. You could do it all pale blue, but it to have the transparency, everybody knows it's glass. So I did
No, that
that.
one's beautiful. Yeah. I think the gradation color
Thank you.
combination is beautiful. Yeah. So it is still available.
No, no, not anymore. No, I don't make that one anymore.
Okay. Um,
You want
and
it?
yeah, I mean, wait, how much does it cost? I look at the price tag. I was like, interesting idea. Or something for the future.
Yeah.
Um,
I have a
it's,
few from that era still lying around my studio, but I don't sell those ones anymore.
so like, how did you transport all of these to Paris when you were first
Oh,
starting?
I brought some in my backpack. I had some in my backpack. I had some in my I think I don't think I checked any, but it was like my carry-on. Like I wrapped my jeans around them.
So you just figured out like the first time. Did anyone? Every single one of them arrive safely to
Yeah,
Paris? Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank God they did. Yeah.
Yeah. So they also look more. They're not as fragile as they look. I
No,
guess.
they're pretty strong.
Yeah. And so, what kind of what's your most productive time? Are you like a morning person, a night owl?
Um, I had a residency in China last year around January, and that was my most productive time because I was away from all of my friends and family, and I had no responsibilities except to make my work. I was very isolated, and that was very productive.
And what's the residency about?
It was interesting. It was in um a place called Jingdezhen, which is like known for
Yeah.
ceramics.
Uh huh.
Yeah, you know it?
Yeah. This one reminds me of one of the ceramic. It's like a traditional style with the see-through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I made one recently. I haven't posted it yet, but it's very Jingdezhen with like the white and the blue.
Yeah.
I reminds me so much of that, and I'm gonna lean into it. I'm gonna make another one with. I'm working on something right now that's very inspired by the ceramics of that region. But yeah, that was basically they built this amazing shop out there, like really good state of the art shop, like beautiful glass, and they're just inviting international artists to use the space for a few months.
That's awesome.
It was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah. I and but like you use glass as the medium, and you so did you study like ceramics while you were there, or you're still using glass?
No, all glass. I mean, I love ceramics too. Like I've always been naturally good at sculpting with ceramics. Like I could sculpt a bust of you and it would look like you. Um, and I think if I never found glass, I would be a ceramic sculptor or stone. I like carving too. More inspiration from the people I talk to. Like I love talking to the people
Mm.
about like religion in particular. I was very interested in talking to them about because it's so different out there. Like the different it's kind of taboo. You're not really supposed to talk about it. So that
Uh-huh.
added a interesting layer to it. But also they're so foreign to me, like the different religions out there and the way that they feel about it. So that I took a lot of inspiration from actually. I'm working towards a show at Bergdorf, and I'm experimenting with a interesting sort of Marini pattern where you take layers of color and you fold them over themselves multiple times,
Yeah,
and you stretch it out, and then you chop it up. You get this. It's always a little different, and it's interesting how like the different colors affect the pattern. I've been using Duro color, which is really stiff, and I
yeah,
found that the Duro white plus a super dark transparent color has a really interesting effect because you get that darkness almost like a really really rich blue or red, and it can like fade out to blue.
yeah,
I don't know. It's a really interesting thing I'm playing around with.
yeah,
So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying different color patterns. It's really mostly what I'm focused right now on is patterns, which is unlike me because typically I'm more shape
yeah.
centric person, like a sculptor. But right now I'm really interested in these patterns.
And what about this one? There was like a hole in the
Yeah,
middle.
yeah. So okay, so in the beginning, I remember in the beginning I told you like the innovative thing about this process is that the
Yeah,
handle and the bag hole are one piece.
yeah,
It took so much R&D to figure that out. It took me like 2 weeks of blowing straight just to like figure out how to make this shape. And now that
yeah,
I've done it a million times, I can do it in my sleep. But in the beginning, I did not know how to get like that one shape. So that particular one,
yeah.
I made the silhouette of it solid, just a solid massive glass. There's no cavity in there at all. And I drilled through the top where you would like put your hand in. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and then I put in a compressed air hose to like blow up the cavity of the bag, and it just shot out like a gun through the side and like made a and everybody in this shop came over and was like, "Oh my God, like what happened? Is everything okay?" Like what a loud bang. It just like blew out the side. So that's what that is.
Oh, how interesting. So it was a incident.
Yeah, it's an incident. It was a huge mistake. I think it took me like 2 weeks to figure out how to make this shape with so many different techniques and angles trying to get it right. Yeah, it took me a while to figure it out.
It looked like it kind of reminds me of salmon. Can
Of
I
of
call
salmon? Yeah, I see that. Totally. Like a fatty salmon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you make the color like sort of like this way? It's a kind of technique.
Farm raised. Um
Yeah,
uh,
how do you make this kind of pattern? Is it it's
uh,
like a what
that
kind of
particular pattern, you do a stuffed cup with like a peach, and then you do like a wrap with the red, and then you
yeah.
take a hook and you stick it in, you drag the red across the peach. You know what?
Oh,
I've seen this technique a few times in like candy making, like cookie
yeah,
making.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, I see. How interesting. It
Hmm.
is some kind of like yeah, it does remind me of another
Yeah.
interesting. Have you made candy before?
No, but I would love to because I know it's so similar.
Is it?
Yeah. What's that? How so? Okay,
Yeah.
I think my this is just a theory, just a conspiracy theory, but I
Uh-huh.
think candy making, pasta making, and glass blowing have so much in common because they all come from Italy,
Oh, interesting. Well,
right?
yeah, I've seen the the chef's table episode about like how they made like they went to Italy and filmed it there, right?
I haven't
And
seen it.
okay, so it's the yeah, it's on Netflix. Noodles. They have 4 episodes, and then
About
one day,
noodles.
Yes, about like
Wow.
pasta making. Yeah, one of them was Evan Funky. Yeah, that was he's the chef from like Los Angeles.
Okay.
Yeah, you might find it interesting.
Oh yeah, I gotta see that. I love cooking. That's one of my other loves is cooking, so I'd probably enjoy it.
Okay,
Yeah.
and
You
so
like cooking?
sure, I love watching cooking shows.
Yeah. Close enough.
And what about these ones with the teardrops?
So that one you're showing me is like the first attempt at like a drippy bag, which
Yeah,
my idea was to have it like as if as if the bag itself was melting and dripping into down.
yeah,
The problem with that bag is you see like the tails are all poking up, and
uh-huh,
I want and so it looks sort of less like drip stuck to it. But if you go
yeah,
to the next one, you can see I figured out how to like integrate the tails of the drips into the bag so it looks like the bag itself is dripping and falling onto the ground.
okay, that's cool. And this one is like a mini inside, like
Yeah, she's pregnant.
so how did you make this one?
I made the little bag first
Uh-huh.
and I attached it to a punty and then made the big bag and then while they were both still hot, I just very carefully inserted the baby bag. And when glass is hot, when you have two hot pieces of glass, they stick together and merge because they sort of melt
Oh,
together.
right. How interesting.
Yeah.
How interesting. Um,
And then there's one right after that where the bag is giving birth. That's like the next step.
what about like let me
I'd
see.
like to do a sadder one too, where it's like a stillbirth, where the baby bag's split in half. Or imagine this, how cool would this be? Where imagine this, like a big
Yeah.
bag
Uh-huh.
holding. I have this drawn out in my sketchbook, but imagine I'm a bag, and then this is the handle, and the handle is split, and the handle is holding two halves of a baby, and the baby is like split down the middle. Do you remember? Because you know, there's like some sort of a biblical story. I think it's King Solomon, and he's like, who's the real mother? And he's like, I'm gonna split this baby in half and then give
Yeah.
each of you like mothers half the baby. And one of the mothers is like, no, don't split the baby. And then King Solomon's like, okay, you're the real mother. You can have the baby. So maybe I'll make a bag like splitting the little baby bag in half.
I know the story, I just didn't realize it was a biblical one.
Oh, maybe it's not. I'm not really much of a theologian, but I think it is.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. And so what are you developing any kind of new style?
The Marini I was telling you about is
Yeah.
new for me.
Uh-huh.
And I'd also like to, okay, here's another thing that I have like going around my sketchbook is to do like a whole hardware series uh, to incorporate bolts, scissors, saw blades, locks, mostly like padlocks. Um, I have like an idea to incorporate these things and because I think it especially if they're like rusty and old and like leaking rust onto the glass. I think that juxtaposition of like the perfect, beautiful, crystal clear glass and like rusty and bolts and nuts that attracts me somehow.
Oh, okay. That's cool. And
So
this one,
that's I think it's coming.
this
That's my
like
collab with Kate Barton.
oh yeah. Well, is it your idea to leave it open like that?
Um, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I mean, this was a really good collab. We did a lot of like drawing back and forth where I would draw some stuff, she would draw some stuff. She would send me some pictures of her like of her clothes and stuff and I would interpret it. That was like the most collaborative collab I've ever done by far because there was such like a visual dialogue back and forth until we found out something that we liked. And then when it actually comes time to make it to translate, yeah, when it actually
Right.
comes time to translate like the drawing into the 3D sculpture, it's not going to be exactly the same. There's so many artistic choices you have to make in the moment because it's a
Right.
fast process and there's like so but Kate was right there with me like while I was making it. It was good. It was a good collab.
And so like
Also, a side note, I'm sorry to interrupt, but a
yeah, yeah.
side note on that particular shard bag, Kate, the one before that one, Kate used Kate used that and actually made. There's now you can get like a leather version of this bag. You can now get this in leather from Kate.
Ah,
Yeah, so
okay,
little shout out to Kate Barton. Anyone listening want a leather version of one of these bags? Just go to her website.
cool. And where
Yeah.
do we get this glass one? So I can.
I well also from the website actually. Yeah. Or
Okay,
yeah, just contact her for that.
yeah. Um, so all of these, like, if you make more of these, right? You made the
Yeah.
first one. How do you make sure they're all the same color?
Oh,
All the
the color is actually pretty easy to recreate if it's a single
yeah.
color like that, but the shape will surely be different. The shape will be different every time. But the colors can be the same.
All right, so
So-
now this is your sketchbook. Wow.
Yeah, like this was an idea. I never did this, but I could still do it. It'd be cool. It's like imagine like a black and white checkered bag with chess pieces stuck to it like this.
Yeah, uh-huh.
That could be cool. Here's like I'm practicing my signature for like something. Probably shouldn't show you all because I might have like some numbers and stuff in here, but let's see what else we got. Yeah, here's like some ideas for like animals and
Wait, that one looks like can we go back to that? Looks like a the Celtic harp.
the what?
Celtic harp. You know
Oh,
how the
Celtic harp. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, could be. That's like something. Little chicken. Here's some ideas. Some ideas. Like a weird animals. I'm kind of done with the animals though. I went through like a little animal phase. This could be cool to have like a bag with like an inward thing with a little bag, like a little
yeah, yeah,
golden bag pendant.
love to see that. And what's the one at the bottom? Can we go back one page?
This
What's that one?
this is
Yeah.
sort of the cross view of this one. So the idea is that this one has a little tiny bag in the center of it, like that,
Mhm.
and you can like put stuff in there, but it's really, really, really small. Like that's like only this big, and you can make it
Yeah,
out of like gold or silver with like a little diamond on it. That's what I was
yeah,
thinking. Could be nice. And then this one, I thought, like that yellow one we were talking about. Imagine
yeah.
if there was like a golden insert where you could have, like, if this was actually made of gold, it would really bring that Renaissance feel home, and it would really give it another layer.
Mm.
These are bad. A lot of these are bad ideas. I don't, not everyone. Oh, this is a good idea. Okay, imagine this. I make these little tiny baby bags, right? And they're like very angular and have very specific bottoms. And then I make a plaster positive of them with like a stick coming out. And then I make these big bags and I sort of push the baby bags with the specific bottoms into the big ones. And I make like a very specific dent on the inside of these big ones. And then I sell the baby bags as a baby bag collection sale without, I'd have to take photos of this whole combination first. Then I sell the baby bags. I don't tell anyone about the big bags. And then I release the big bags with photos of the baby bags stuck in them. And I sell the big bags, and the big bags are like, "Where's my baby?" You know what I mean? But they're already sold all over the world. That I think could be like a good one.
I would love to see those. Wow. Yeah, I mean, like, or they could be gifted, like, just two parts gift.
Yeah,
Baby shower, and then you
totally.
give the big bag, and then yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Also, like a great gift for someone if you have like an orphan or not an orphan, an adopted person who's like just found their parents. Like, what a good gift. Something like that.
yeah,
Here's like some hearts. This is
yeah.
sort of like what I was thinking of, like for the hardware I was talking about. Like,
Uh-huh.
imagine a bag holding a scissor that's sort of cutting itself, or like a bag holding a hammer smashing itself. But this can be like a real hammer I get from like the Home Depot, and
Mhm.
they're just sort of grabbing it. Or like this one has a saw that's sort of doing itself. And
Yeah.
then this is a Game Boy. Imagine a Game Boy bag would be really cute, like that.
Yes, I would love to see those. By the way, have you
Sure.
ever thought about making like a perfume bottle?
Yeah, people ask me to do stuff like that all the time, and I don't know. I'm not really, you know. People say perfume bottle or like little dishes trays. This, I don't know. I'm not so into it. Maybe this could be cool, like a moon series, like Faces of the Moon,
Yeah.
or like I think this is kind of a good design. This one's sort of like a hen sitting on its egg.
Yes, that's interesting. Oh, I like the one that's holding the baby bag.
This one,
Yeah.
yeah, that could be good. Yeah,
Can you
that is
make?
fun, and you could sort of hold it like this and have like a little thing hanging.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
that
that's a
would
good
be for
design
your
too.
keys, right?
Yeah, right. Totally. a lot of them have like technical difficulties. Like
Yeah,
I think it's a
because
good design, but how am I actually going to do it? It's hard,
yeah.
but maybe possible. Yeah, and here's like some other ideas of having like bags sort of connecting like this in like interesting ways, like that. Like a little comic about something. Sometimes I just draw like other stuff. Eh, It's not all bags in here. Here's just like a. There are bags in here, but it's just like a drawing of stuff. Oh, this is a bag I almost kind of made. I think I made that one.
Mm.
There's like some. Oh yeah, here's like a drippy one. Oh, yeah, here's the heart one. Heart ones I designed a while ago.
Wait, oh, that's the swan. I like the swan version. Like two of them intertwined. The
These
heart.
ones?
Yeah, because it's also a heart shape.
Yeah, and imagine like if I split it in half and then I sewed it together with some sort of a golden thread.
Or it's called broken hearts, and that's yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
broken
exactly.
heart.
This would be
Yeah.
cool if I did like a little house with like a little chimney, but it's so hard. I don't know how to do that.
Oh,
Yeah, twisted bag. This was sort of like being pulled apart. This was okay. So like sometimes I have an idea like this for like a lighting fixture. I think would be really cool. Imagine
mhm.
if this was like a pendant light in your house.
Yeah. Have you ever made chandeliers?
Oh sure, yeah. I mean every glass blower has done that for money. And then
Yeah.
sometimes I just draw pictures like this that are like a little
So,
bends,
uh, wait.
bow
Can we go
tie.
back to that? Can we go back to that?
This
Yes. Do you have more of these?
drawings like this.
Yes.
Sure, yeah, yeah. There's that one. They're in here. There's sort of like
That's
this is
interesting.
like a I don't know like a I don't know something. Yeah, I draw stuff like this sometimes. Just like fun stuff. Um, there's like a finished portrait of myself.
What? Oh, you see yourself?
What's Yeah, that's me. That's my eye. That's my neck. That's a drawing of the other half of my face. That's the drawing of my other eye. Yeah, and that's a contrasting background, hair, you know. It's a complete self-portrait.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, there you go. That's
That's
remember that one?
yeah, that's
Hmm.
yeah, original one.
Here's like a
Hmm.
lamp I made a while ago. Oh, yeah, here's a picture about Box World. It's box art. You
Yeah.
got box flag and some guy got box in his face. Yeah, there's other ideas. There's like a lamp idea. Um, there's like an idea for a backpack, but I don't really want to do a backpack. There's like backpack with wings, but it's not good. Horns. Yeah, different like ideas for stuff. Now we're getting old. Yeah, more like hardware stuff.
Oh,
I
is
made
it
this.
like a Cinderella's glass slipper?
Yeah, yeah. But honestly, that's been done actually by a lot of people. Like
Yeah.
here's
Well,
some of the original ones.
yeah.
These are some of the really early ones that I designed, like way back in the day. I've always loved feet, but yeah, some animals. There's some money stuff. Here, like I designed my logo
Yeah.
like that.
Uh-huh.
Some other ideas for like how to make bags. Just like a funny like cartoon shape thing. Uh, I don't know. Just like shapes. A door. I don't know what this door is doing here. Yeah, these are the original ones that I drew out.
Oh,
These are the
oh,
ones I
yeah.
drew out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I when
Back,
I
yeah.
on the way back from Paris Fashion Week, I drew out these ones.
So, do you have any new shows coming up next year?
Yeah, so my next one is January 17th at Bergdorf's. That's gonna be good. And then I have one at 11T on Madison Avenue, which is which is on February 8th. And then in 20 March 28th, I think I have one in LA I don't know exactly where that is though. That's with Basic Space. The next three I have.
Well, thank you so much for speaking with us today. We have three questions.
You got it. S- Yeah, so what inspired you to start this podcast?
Sometimes when I go to the art shows, I always wish I could talk to the artist, and yeah, that's my excuse to talk to them for an hour.
What do you have any goals for like where to like what's your ultimate goal for this podcast?
Um, that's a good question. I don't really have an agenda. It's just something that I had a burning desire to do, and I
Mm-hmm.
just and we'll see where that leads. And I felt like one thing lead to another. Like when I saw your handbag, like when I first saw it was 2 years ago, and the first time I touched it, it was a year ago. Now I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking to
Yeah, you're
you,
getting
right?
closer and closer.
Yeah. So we'll see. And
Is this your full-time job? Is this podcast or you have other things going on?
I also have a travel blog, and it's called 50 Hours.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like intribute to the 36 Hours by New York Times.
Mm.
um, like when I travel, I go to these, like go to Design Miami. And while I was in DC, I went to Janet Ackerman's installation. And I
Mm-hmm.
heard about it before, but it was the first time experiencing it. There's something about
Mm-hmm.
like you have to see and touch to truly like, just like something have to be experienced. So yeah, and then so yeah, and it's on my website 50hoursin.com.